Your liver is secretly flooding your bloodstream with toxic glucose while you sleep. That terrifying morning spike isn't your fault. It's a rogue biological trap. Watch until the end to discover the exact 7-seed kill switch that will permanently disarm this midnight insulin nightmare. You open your eyes. The house is quiet. The morning is still. But inside your chest, a familiar dread is already tightening. You did everything perfectly yesterday. You pushed away the evening carbohydrates. You forced down a high-protein dinner. You endured a grueling 12-hour fast, ignoring the late-night hunger pangs that begged you to break your discipline. You pick up the glucometer. You prick your finger. You wait for those agonizing 3 seconds. And then, the screen flashes a number that feels like a physical punch to the gut. 145 milligrams per deciliter. 160. Maybe even over 200. Instantly, a heavy, suffocating wave of guilt washes over you. The whispering voice in your head starts the ruthless interrogation. What did I do wrong? Am I losing this battle? Am I destined to lose my vision, my limbs, my life to this disease? Let me stop that voice right now. Look at me. You did absolutely nothing wrong. Your body has not betrayed you, and your willpower is not fractured. You are the victim of a biochemical mismatch, an archaic survival software running deep in your liver that is completely out of sync with your modern metabolic reality. The medical establishment calls it the dawn phenomenon, but I call it the midnight insulin trap. And until you understand the terrifying biological mechanism happening inside you between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., no amount of fasting or sheer willpower will save you. If you are exhausted from fighting a relentless war against your own body and want to finally uncover the biological truth, please hit that subscribe button right now to support our channel so we can continue bringing you these life-saving physiological deep dives. At Healthy Aging US welcomes you to a journey of true metabolic healing, where we stop medicating the symptoms and start repairing the machine. We have to stop looking at the human body through the incredibly ignorant lens of calories in versus sugar out. It is a tragic oversimplification. Imagine a deeply polluted, toxic fish tank. Modern endocrinology looks at a sick fish, your dangerously high fasting morning blood sugar, and aggressively tries to medicate the fish by throwing more synthetic pills into the dirty water. It is a reactionary, fundamentally flawed approach. If you wake up with high sugar, standard medicine simply increases your evening metformin dose or pushes you closer toward the cliff edge of exogenous insulin injections. This is physiological violence. It is treating the smoke while entirely ignoring the raging fire. We must clean the water. We must understand the complex molecular blueprint of your sleep. While you are unconscious, your brain is actively executing massive, energy-intensive housekeeping protocols like cellular autophagy, memory consolidation, and deep tissue repair. The brain demands a relentless, uninterrupted supply of glucose to survive the night and execute these commands. Because your muscle cells are heavily insulin-resistant, their cellular doors locked tight, rusted shut from years of chronic systemic inflammation, the brain senses a lack of intracellular fuel and believes you are starving. It panics. It sends a desperate chemical distress signal down your central nervous system. Enter your liver, the body's massive industrial backup generator. Triggered by a nocturnal surge of counter-regulatory stress hormones like cortisol, glucagon, and epinephrine, your liver boots up a process called gluconeogenesis. It literally creates brand new sugar out of thin air, converting circulating proteins and fats into pure glucose, violently dumping it into your bloodstream. Your pancreas tries desperately to release a basal squirt of insulin to push this newly minted sugar into your muscles. but the cellular locks remain broken. The muscles refuse the sugar. So, it has nowhere to go. It pools in your blood, toxifying your vascular system, waiting in the shadows to terrify you the moment you wake up. You cannot forcefully hammer an exhausted pancreas with synthetic drugs to shove more insulin into a deeply resistant system. You must repair the rusted locks, build physical barriers in your gut, and directly command the liver to shut down that backup generator. Today, we are not going to talk about cute dietary additions. We are going to deploy 7 highly specific raw seeds as precise mechanical tools to hack your endocrine signaling and rewrite your metabolic fate. But before I reveal the very first biological weapon in this arsenal, I need to know exactly where you currently stand. Go into the comments section right now and type in your average fasting morning blood sugar. Let's expose the numbers and face this raw data together. We established that your liver is acting as a rogue backup generator. But to shut it down, we must first build an impenetrable physical barrier in your digestive tract using our first 2 biological weapons. If you want to stop the morning glucose surge, you cannot simply ask the liver nicely. You must mechanically force it to stand down. And that begins with the humble but ferociously powerful fenugreek seed. Standard nutritionists will tell you that fenugreek is a nice spice for flavoring curries, completely ignoring the fact that it is carrying a highly specialized amino acid called 4-hydroxyisoleucine. This specific compound does not exist in mammalian tissues. When it enters your bloodstream, it acts as a direct, targeted biochemical messenger that bypasses your broken metabolic pathways and walks straight up to your pancreatic beta cells. It gently stimulates them to release a controlled, slow drip of insulin. But more importantly, it travels to the liver and actively suppresses the enzymes responsible for gluconeogenesis. It is the equivalent of reaching into the control panel of that roaring backup generator and pulling the kill switch. But shutting off the generator is not enough if your gut is still rapidly absorbing residual carbohydrates from your evening meal, which brings us to the second tool in our arsenal, the chia seed. I do not want you to look at chia seeds as a trendy superfood to sprinkle on a smoothie. I want you to view them as a highly advanced tactical deployment of soluble fiber. When chia seeds interact with water in your stomach, they undergo a rapid physical transformation, exuding a thick, viscous mucilage. This gel-like substance creates a heavy physical barricade along the delicate mucosal lining of your intestines. Think of it as throwing a thick, protective blanket over a raging fire. Any carbohydrates or sugars that are attempting to cross the intestinal wall into your bloodstream are trapped in this gelatinous matrix. Their absorption is radically decelerated. Instead of a violent spike in blood sugar that terrifies your nervous system at 3 a.m., you get a microscopic, slow-release trickle of energy that keeps the brain satisfied without triggering a systemic panic. Furthermore, this mucilage binds directly to bile acids in your gut. Because bile acids are made from cholesterol, your body is forced to pull circulating cholesterol out of your blood to manufacture more bile, inadvertently lowering your lipid profile while simultaneously stabilizing your blood sugar. It is an elegant, dual-action mechanism. By consuming a specific, hydrated preparation of fenugreek and chia seeds a few hours before you go to sleep, you are doing 2 deeply profound things to your physiology. You are mechanically blocking the overnight absorption of sugar, and you are chemically instructing the liver to halt its panic-induced glucose production. You are laying down the foundational armor for a quiet, metabolically stable night. Yet, even with the liver pacified and the gut barricaded, we still have to address the sugar that is already trapped in your bloodstream, waiting to ambush you at dawn. Once that mucilage barricade is firmly established in your gut, we must travel deeper into the vascular system to repair the rusted cellular locks that are keeping insulin locked out, utilizing the structural power of our next two seeds. The blood vessels of a diabetic or pre-diabetic individual are practically under siege, suffering from microscopic tears and heavy oxidative stress caused by years of rogue glucose molecules acting like shards of glass in the bloodstream. This is where the flax seed enters the battlefield, bringing a massive payload of alpha-linolenic acid and unique polyphenols known as lignans. When you grind flaxseed, and it absolutely must be ground to fracture its tough exterior shell, you are releasing a wave of anti-inflammatory lipids that rush to your endothelial lining. This lining is the inner wall of your blood vessels, and it is responsible for producing nitric oxide, the molecule that tells your veins to relax and dilate. Chronic high blood sugar destroys nitric oxide production, leaving your vessels stiff, constricted, and inflamed. The lignans in flaxseed act as cellular masonry, physically repairing this endothelial damage and extinguishing the inflammatory microfires that prevent insulin from effectively docking with your muscle cells. But repairing the vascular highway is meaningless if the vehicle delivering the energy cannot turn the ignition, which brings us to the irreplaceable physiological spark plug, the pumpkin seed. Modern soils are entirely depleted of magnesium, meaning the vast majority of the population is walking around severely deficient in this critical mineral. Why does this matter for your morning blood sugar? Because the insulin receptor on your cell wall is highly dependent on magnesium to function. You can think of insulin as the key to your cellular door, but magnesium is the mechanism inside the lock itself. If you do not have adequate intracellular magnesium, you can pump your body full of endogenous or synthetic insulin, and the key will simply snap off in the door. The door will not open. The sugar will remain trapped in the blood. Pumpkin seeds deliver an unadulterated, highly bioavailable dose of this raw mineral directly to the rusted locks of your muscle cells. Furthermore, they are packed with a specific bioactive compound called trigonelline, which has been shown in clinical literature to mildly inhibit the enzymatic breakdown of complex carbohydrates in the upper digestive tract. It is a stunning display of biological synergy. The flaxseed calms the raging inflammation in the blood vessels so the insulin can travel safely, and the pumpkin seed provides the mechanical torque required to finally open the cellular door. Together, these two seeds work in the dark of the night, long after you have closed your eyes, actively scrubbing the vascular walls and greasing the insulin receptors. They are preparing your muscular system to willingly accept the basal insulin your pancreas is trying to provide, effectively pulling the floating glucose out of your bloodstream before the sun even rises. Repairing the vascular walls is only half the battle. To achieve total metabolic freedom, we must now deploy the heavy artillery to fundamentally rewire how your muscle cells receive energy using our final three seeds. We must introduce the sunflower seed, an often ignored botanical powerhouse that contains a deeply misunderstood compound called chlorogenic acid. You might recognize this name if you study green coffee bean extract, but in the matrix of a sunflower seed, it operates with a sustained, slow-release perfection. Chlorogenic acid performs a very specific task. It inhibits an enzyme in your liver called glucose 6-phosphatase. This is the exact enzyme responsible for releasing stored glycogen into the bloodstream. By gently blocking this pathway, the sunflower seed forces the liver to hold on to its sugar reserves during the crucial early morning hours, preventing the dawn phenomenon from gaining any initial traction. Next, We flank the liver with the sesame seed, a tiny geometric marvel packing a unique lignin called sesamin. Sesamin does not just lower blood sugar, it fundamentally alters genetic expression. It penetrates the cellular membrane and upregulates the genes responsible for fat oxidation, meaning it literally teaches your body to burn its own stored fat for fuel while you sleep, rather than panicking and demanding glucose. Even more remarkably, sesamin decreases hepatic lipogenesis, which is the liver's tendency to convert excess sugar into dangerous visceral fat. If you are struggling with a fatty liver, which is the silent engine driving your insulin resistance, the sesame seed acts as a biological solvent, slowly dissolving the lipid blockages that are suffocating your hepatic function. Finally, we bring in the ultimate cellular healer, the hemp seed. Your cellular membranes are composed of a lipid bilayer, a fatty wall that must remain fluid and flexible for insulin receptors to glide across it effectively. Years of consuming processed seed oils, trans fats, and oxidized omega-6s have turned your cellular membranes into rigid, impenetrable concrete. Hemp seeds contain a mathematically perfect ratio of omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids, but their true weapon is gamma-linolenic acid, or GLA. GLA is a potent anti-neuropathic agent. It travels to the deep tissues and aggressively displaces the toxic, rigid fats embedded in your cell walls, replacing them with fluid, highly conductive lipids. It is like replacing ancient, frayed copper wiring with state-of-the-art fiber optics. By restoring the physical elasticity and electrical conductivity of your cell walls, hemp seeds ensure that when the insulin molecule arrives, the cell receives the signal loudly and clearly. By combining the enzymatic blockade of the sunflower seed, the fat-burning genetic switch of the sesame seed, and the membrane-restoring power of the hemp seed, you are executing a masterclass in endocrine warfare, leaving your metabolic dysfunction with absolutely nowhere to hide. Having armed yourself with these 7 remarkable biochemical tools, the final step is orchestrating them into a precise daily protocol that disarms the midnight insulin trap forever. You do not need to consume massive, indigestible bowls of these seeds to witness a miracle. You simply need a targeted, methodical application. The timing of this protocol is the most critical variable because we are hunting the dawn phenomenon, which means the biological trap must be set exactly 90 minutes before you go to sleep. You will take precisely 1 teaspoon of each of the 7 seeds. The flax and chia must be freshly ground to shatter their defensive hulls and expose their lignins and mucilage, while the pumpkin, sunflower, sesame, fenugreek, and hemp can remain whole or lightly crushed. You will place this exact mixture into a glass of warm, not boiling, water, stirring it gently, allowing the mucilage of the chia to bloom and the volatile oils of the flax to bind with the fluid. You will drink this matrix slowly. As you lie down in the dark and drift into the restorative phases of deep sleep, you are no longer leaving your liver unchecked. You have deployed a specialized biological task force. The fenugreek is immediately walking up to the liver to pull the emergency kill switch on glucose production. The chia is expanding, building a gelatinous fortress in your digestive tract to trap wandering sugars. The flax and pumpkin are coursing through your vascular highway, extinguishing endothelial fires and sliding the magnesium keys into your rusted insulin receptors. The sunflower and sesame are locking down the liver's glycogen stores and forcing your body to burn fat for fuel, while the hemp seed is quietly restoring the flexible architecture of your cell walls. You are no longer a victim waiting to be punished by your glucometer. When the sun rises and you walk into your kitchen, you will not feel the suffocating dread of failure. You will prick your finger, and you will watch as the screen reveals a number that reflects peace. A number that proves your internal machinery is finally communicating in harmony. 95 milligrams per deciliter, 88 milligrams per deciliter. This is not a temporary band-aid or a synthetic illusion created by a pharmaceutical company. This is genuine, foundational molecular healing. You have stopped fighting the smoke and finally extinguished the fire. If this journey into the profound intelligence of your own biology has given you hope, do not let this knowledge end here. Share this message with someone you love who is secretly suffering. Like this video to help us defeat the algorithm of medical complacency and stand tall in the knowledge that your body is built to heal. Welcome back to the driver's seat of your own life. The journey to conquering the dawn phenomenon and stabilizing your morning blood sugar does not require pharmaceutical miracles. It demands strategic biological alignment. By deploying a specific protocol of 7 highly functional seeds: fenugreek, chia, flax, pumpkin, sunflower, sesame, and hemp, you can effectively rewire your metabolic machinery while you sleep. This is not about randomly sprinkling superfoods into your diet. It is a calculated, multi-stage biochemical intervention. First, chia and fenugreek build a viscous mucilage barricade in the gut, while chemically ordering the liver to halt its rogue overnight glucose production. Next, the synergistic pairing of ground flax and pumpkin seeds sweeps through the vascular system, reducing endothelial inflammation and delivering the raw magnesium required to unlock rusted insulin receptors. Finally, sunflower, sesame, and hemp seeds act as the heavy artillery, blocking hepatic glycogen release, shifting the body into a genetic fat-burning mode, and repairing rigid cellular membranes with optimal lipid ratios. Consumed exactly 90 minutes before bed in a simple glass of warm water, this seed matrix works in the dark to heal metabolic dysfunction at the cellular level. Instead of waking up to a panicked glucose surge, you awake to balanced, healthy numbers. This protocol proves that your body is not fundamentally broken. It simply needs the right biochemical tools to restore systemic communication, extinguish chronic inflammation, and reclaim true metabolic freedom. Food is not merely fuel or a collection of empty calories to be burned. It is biological code. Modern metabolic diseases are largely the result of miscommunication within the body, driven by nutrient-depleted modern diets and chronic oxidative stress. We have been conditioned to believe that conditions like insulin resistance are permanent life sentences that can only be managed by treating the symptoms. However, the profound intelligence of nature provides exact molecular keys, such as specialized amino acids, lignans, and mucilage, designed to repair these broken metabolic pathways. True healing begins when we stop treating our bodies like failing machines and start treating them like intricate ecosystems that respond powerfully to targeted, natural instructions. Build your arsenal. Source high-quality, organic versions of the 7 seeds: fenugreek, chia, flax, pumpkin, sunflower, sesame, and hemp. Prep the matrix. Remember that flax and chia must be freshly ground to release their mucilage and anti-inflammatory lipids, while the others can be left whole or lightly crushed. Execute the timing. Set an alarm for exactly 90 minutes before your target bedtime. This timing is non-negotiable for intercepting the dawn phenomenon. Hydrate and consume. Mix exactly 1 teaspoon of each seed into a glass of warm water. Let it sit for a few moments to allow the chia to bloom into a gel, then drink it slowly. Track the data. Test your morning fasting blood sugar consistently. Let the stabilizing numbers be the tangible proof that your nighttime protocol is actively healing your physiology. Which of these 7 powerful seeds are you most excited to add into your daily routine? Or are you already using some of them? Please take a moment to drop your answer in the comments section below so our community can read your perspective and learn from one another. If you found this deep dive into your biology helpful and empowering, please subscribe to the channel. Your support gives us the incredible motivation we need to keep researching and creating high-quality, life-changing content for you.